Hello, class. My name is Joe Ward. I chose to do my research project on implementing teams within organizations. I actually did the chapter that was related to implementing teams in organizations earlier on in the semester, and really found it a beneficial and useful theory to examine a little bit further for the course, and have really enjoyed it so far and have learned a lot. Some of the things that I talk about in my research paper and the different theories that I talk about are kind of the fact that teams have always been used within organizations and will likely continue to be, although the different types of teams and the uses that they have had have changed over the years, especially as we move into a more technologically advanced culture. Many of the organizations I talk about in my paper have started to rely heavily on virtual teams, which are individuals separated, not necessarily meeting face to face, but certainly using technology as a means to communicate, and are very effective teams to be used. That's what I've had the most experience with. Personally, being in the military, a lot of the times, I'm not afforded the luxury of having a table to sit down with, and various members of the team to sit next to me, and we can discuss interpersonally amongst each other. A lot of times we have to rely on technology to discuss the things that we need to. Another thing we talk about in the research paper I address are the quality circle types of teams, as well as the small management teams that are really becoming popular nowadays. Organizations are finding ways to use their managers to train work groups and implement them in new ways and in creative ways. Another type of team that I discuss in my research paper are problem-solving teams. Problem-solving teams differ from small work group teams or quality circles in that they are less permanent in their time constraints. Quality circles often meet over a long term, maybe once a week or once every other week, to discuss problems and issues that need to be resolved in the workplace. However, problem-solving teams are really bound by a short amount of time, and that time being determined by how quickly it takes the problem or issue to get resolved. Typically, the team is assembled, and once the resolution for the issue is met, the team is disbanded. After I discuss the various types of teams within my research paper, I move on to the crucial step of implementation within the organization. Oftentimes, managers or leaders within a various company will rush this step, and it's unfortunate because they haven't had the education or training to realize what steps need to be completed along the way in order to really effectively shift a company into a team-based culture environment. The pros and cons for shifting to that kind of a culture certainly favor the pros. I discussed the benefits earlier in the paper about how organizational enhancements, employee job satisfaction, and reduced costs, and several others that are kind of associate or help augment a team-based culture within an organization. And sometimes managers can just be a little too rushed in that process. So I talk about a couple steps that would serve a manager or leader wise, serve him well to initiate and implement these things. The first one is a feasibility study and a steering committee, two of the probably most important things that a manager could implement while making this shift to a team-based culture in his organization. Steering committee, I talk about, really helps to guide the entire process, kind of, if you will, like a throttle check, giving a little bit more gas when needed, a little more brakes when needed, helping to feel out the culture and determine whether or not the shift to a team-based culture is going as planned. A feasibility study is another great tool that I talk about during the implementation process that managers should certainly take advantage of, and that being to gauge the culture and the climate of the organization and resources, whether or not this shift is even capable or possible to take place. Well, so far as my personal theory about implementing teams within organizations, I would certainly say that I am a fan of it and a big supporter within the right context. I do recognize that not all organizations are going to be able to be team-based cultures, and some more than others. It's not simply a yes or no answer. It's much more complicated than that, and I think we all understand how those elements work themselves out in real life. But we did find a couple results to mention here in closing about the research that I was able to come up with. The first result, and kind of an obvious one, is that team-based cultures within organizations are very effective when implemented properly. That's kind of a two-sided coin. The other side of that being that managers have a responsibility to know and recognize both their organizational culture and be able to judge the timing of implementation for that culture. Another result that I discussed within the research paper was that during that implementation process, patience and timing is critical. So those were kind of the two main results of the research that we came up with during this process, and some of the suggestions for further research involved training and development for those management teams we discussed earlier that really train the trainer, as you will, and kind of an upper level teach, coach, mentor for the other groups within the organizations.